guys, Locks and Load here. Today's video, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my background in the military. I did 4 years in the United States Navy. I joined in 2012 and I got out this June 2016. My rate was in aviation boats made equipment, so I have a lot of flight deck time and bad hearing because of it. But that was my rate. And our job as an AVE, our job is to launch and recover the planes that on the carrier. Our job is pretty much exclusively on aircraft carriers, because those are the only ones really with flight decks that can handle the catapult and the arresting gear systems to launch and recover the planes. And that was our job, to maintain that equipment, to make sure it functions right, so when planes come in and catch the wire and they land, or we hook them up to the catapults and we launch them off, that all the equipment goes right and nothing goes wrong and we don't put a bird in the water. My job primarily was in the catapult. I worked in the waist and in the bow. I was never a gear dog, as we call them. I worked in the arresting gear that catches the planes. I was working in the catapults, the ones that we launch the planes. We use steam catapults. We build up a bunch of steam to a certain pressure, then we release it and that steam carries the plane down the track. Almost like when you take a water bottle, twist it up and you pop the cap off and you got the smoke coming out. That's the most basic way. If I explained it, it would be here all day, because there's a lot more to it than that. But no, I did my boot camp RTC in Chicago. I did my 8 weeks there. It wasn't too hard because both my parents are ex-military, ex-Navy. They did the 20 years. My grandpa did like 24. Aunt and uncles, they're chiefs. So I'm fourth generation Navy, so we have a big Navy background. So that military discipline was always in my life. So when I got to boot camp, it was easy for me. I didn't have a hard time. I only got yelled at like once. But I did my 8 weeks. Then I went to Pensacola, Florida, for my A school. That's where pretty much all the aviation jobs, I know Navy and Marine Corps, most of their aviation jobs go to Pensacola, Florida. So aviation boatswain's mates, aviation ordnance men, pilots, air crew, they all go to Pensacola. So I was happy in Pensacola because it wasn't like boot camp where you're stuck in a compartment. No, I actually had a room with one roommate, but he kind of left, so I pretty much spent a majority of my time by myself in my own room, with my laptop, my cell phone, and a fridge. So those three things coming out of boot camp are a godsend. So I did my time there. I went home on leave after A school, and then my first command was the Ronald Reagan. That was up in Bremerton, Washington, late 2012. This is around like the November, December time. I went out to Bremerton, Washington. I did 4 or 5 months there. I turned 21 up there too, so I don't know if you want to hear about those stories. But after those 4 months, we went to our home station, which was in San Diego, and I did that for a while. We went on a rim pack to Hawaii twice. That was fun. I really enjoy Hawaii. It's kind of expensive, but it was really nice getting to see all these different ships from all these countries: South Korea, China, the Philippines, Mexico. And there's a lot of navies I didn't even know had out there. I didn't even know had a navy. I honestly didn't even know Mexico had a navy until we went there and we saw them in their uniforms. And oh wow, Mexico has a navy. We did that. Came home. Just sat around for a while. Anyway, I'll continue what I was saying. We came back to San Diego after RIMPAC. And I forgot to mention, before we went on RIMPAC was when I'd been sent TAD, or temporary assigned duty, to our ship security force. So they sent me to us and a group of sailors from our command and other commands around the local San Diego area. to a training facility by Academy. They were formerly known as Blackwater Contractors, but they had changed the name to Academy. There was a bunch of former military guys, special forces, combat veterans, and they were training us, on security tactics, how to apprehend people, how to take down drunk people, how to shoot, how to clear and clean weapons, how to clear rooms, clear stairwells, move up and down the hallways tactically, whatnot, as a team. The guy got the front, you got the guys on the side to cover your sides, so all your points are covered. I actually had a lot of fun doing that because I'm a tactical guy. I like to shoot. I like to learn new things. So, getting firsthand knowledge from actual combat veterans and people who have been down the range and been under gunfire, getting their expertise and their knowledge and their insight really kind of opened up my mind to different factors that we need to consider in our everyday world. Because it's not just, within a security situation do you kind of need to be aware. That awareness that they trained us in those classes, I kind of still use today. Looking at people, looking how they move, look how they look at you, their expressions, their body language. What are they doing with their hands? Those things still carry on with me, in everyday life right now. And it actually really does kind of keep me out of trouble, because with that built-in awareness, like I can look at somebody and kind of, all right, they're up to no good. Or, hey, there's a group of guys just kind of eyeballing me. I think it's time to get out of this area. So, I actually had fun doing it. I qualified expert with the rifle, the M16, and the M9 Beretta. I actually had one of the highest scores. That was honestly the first time I ever shot an M16. I qualified expert with it. But I guess if you know how to line up your sights, I guess you're pretty decent with any type of caliber gun. But anyway, we got done with security training. We went on RIMPAC, and so when we were in Hawaii, half the time I was in Hawaii, I was working security, so I can't really go out and have fun. And Hawaii is hot. It really is hot. 1 a.m, and you are sweating. You're drenched with sweat because it's just humid as hell out there. And so we did Hawaii, came back. And then they had started this whole swap idea, whereas the Ronald Reagan in San Diego would go to Yokosuka, Japan, and the George Washington in Japan would come and go to Norfolk, Virginia, and the Theodore Roosevelt and Norfolk, Virginia would come to San Diego. And so it was the first time the Navy's ever done that. I got a challenge coin around here somewhere. I'm going to try to find it, take a picture. We call it CVN 220 because the Ronald Reagan CVN 76, the George Washington CVN 73, and the Theodore Roosevelt CVN 71. You add those numbers together and you get 220. And so they made a challenge coin for people like me who would hop on all three of those carriers. So we're already on the Ronald Reagan, and so the George Washington comes from Yokosuka, Japan, because they were in deployment, stops in San Diego, and we whole swap from the Reagan to the George Washington. And from there on the George Washington, we continued their deployment around the Horn of South America, where we stopped and hit Lima, Peru, Valparaiso, Chile, and Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I love Brazil. I didn't want to leave. Brazil is my favorite port. The women are beautiful. The food is delicious. The scenery is amazing. I got to check off the cross off my bucket list when I got to see the Christ Redeemer. So I was extremely excited when we heard we were going to Brazil. And also, I'm going to do this before the video cuts out. I did in the beginning, but this is my shellback certificate. So I'm a certified shellback. I've been out there, and no, I'm no longer a slimy wog. I'm a certified shellback. So, with our little shellback ceremony, it was fun. We woke up early. We got humiliated all day, but it was fun, so no one really complained. I mean, there were some people who didn't do it. They were just too tough to go through the little rituals of being a wog and going to a shellback. And someone like me, being fourth generation Navy, and all my family are shellback. This was actually one of the biggest moments in my Navy career for me, was becoming a shellback. putting on that dirty white shirt with whatever wog you are or what you want to call yourself, eating nasty colored food, getting sprayed with salt water hoses. That was actually pretty cold. No, doing little obstacle courses and while they're drenching with water, swimming through that green tank. What are you? I'm a shellback. Yeah. The first time I did it, I said, I'm a slimy wog. Like, no, go back. So I had to go back through the whole thing, back in that slimy ass tank, come back out again. And what are you? I'm a shellback. And then we went over and had to kneel before King Neptune, which was our CMC. So it was a lot of fun. And yeah, anyway, it was really fun for me. Deployment wasn't fun. No, deployment is kind of hard, on a sailor, all that constant work and whatnot. And no vacations off, no breaks. We just going. But, I survived. I made it. I did it. I guess to me, you're a certified sailor. If you're not a showback and you ain't have at least one deployment and, you spend your whole time on land, nah, you ain't a real sailor. I mean, you are a sailor, don't get me wrong. Now, I'll show you the same respect. But in my book, nah. You have to be out in the ocean like a sailor. But, so anyway, that happened. We came to Norfolk, Virginia. I didn't like Norfolk. I see why people don't like it. It's huge. And it's just because I didn't have a car because we were on deployment. All our cars are in San Diego and we're in Virginia. And we were stuck there for a few weeks. I was there longer because I had a family issue, so I had to come home. And so my plane ticket got shifted to a different date. But it kind of ended up being fun because they had to race me out the system that was on the G-Dub. So for like 2 whole weeks, I didn't have to go to work. I'm at work, but I didn't have to go to work. Because I'm not on their little roster. They don't have any accountants of me even being there. So I didn't have to show to work, so I got 2 weeks of just paid vacation, I guess. But I did my time in Norfolk, hopped on the plane, they flew us cross country back to San Diego, where we finally ended on the Theodore Roosevelt. I was out of the security by then, so I went back to the flight deck, being in the catapults. We did a little more, little simple underways, nothing big, just figure eights and big circles in the ocean, just wasting gas and time. And we came back, and then my time had been served, and then I end up I don't know the exact, I think it was June 24th 2016. That was my last official day in the Navy. No, it was really anticlimactic. I don't know, I guess I didn't expect streamers and parties, but it just seemed anticlimactic. All right, here, sign this DD 214. All right, bye. It was just, oh wow, 4 years wrapped up that fast. I do miss the people there in San Diego. No, I really do. I still talk to them. Because once you go through those things in the military, once you build that military friendship, it's really hard to break that bond because you guys rely on each other so much, and you kind of become family. Even though you can't stand people at times, it's still your family. And when you're out there by yourself, and you don't have your actual family with you, you kind of got to rely on the people around you, to kind of support you, give you that motivation, and push you to do better. But that was a quick little video of my 4 years in the Navy. I didn't want to be too long. I just want to give you a quick little blurb of what I did in the Navy, my job, where I've been, and I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm not some fraud. I'm actually legit. I had the paperwork, so thank you for watching.
Taking on spot 5.